So in this recording, I am going to go through the model context protocol from Anthropic. I see that as a very innovative thinking from Anthropic, um, and it looks very similar to the idea sometimes back that I had on agent mesh. Right, so I see that the model context protocol has the capability to evolve into an agent mesh. And um, to give a context of what I mean by agent mesh is, if you are familiar with microservices based architecture, so when microservices architecture first came in, um, when there were not enough ecosystem of frameworks and tools, as a developer, and I was an early developer in microservices, we had to code a lot of the boilerplate code, also the infrastructure related to a circuit breaker pattern and all those things. Uh, we had to code for every um, microservices application that we do, right? Then came in the concept of service mesh, right, which abstracted away all the boilerplate code so that developers can focus only on the business logic of the services, right? So a lot of those a common code of implementing circuit breaker pattern or let's say discovering a service. Um, so all these things moved into that the service mesh component, right? So the model context protocol seems to me like that, which can abstract away a lot of the boilerplate code that is written to integrate the LLM application with um, things like an external data source or a resource, which is mentioned here in context protocol, or an external tool, or a prompt registry, or a tool registry, right? Those integrations become like the boilerplate logic to integrate with integrations is what is I see can be extracted away by using model context protocol. Let's go through the core architecture before we jump on into creating. We'll create one server and integrate a uh, nodes component, nodes tool, right? We'll see that, right? The model context protocol is built on a flexible, extensible architecture that enables seamless communication between LLM applications and integrations. That's what I was telling, right? This document covers the core architectural components and concepts. So the core concept is about a client server architecture. There is a client, there is a server. The server is the one that abstracts away the integration logic. When I say integration, right now the integration is with a resource or a context, tools, and prompts, right? The way it is written, I can actually integrate anything, right? In fact, the resource thing, right? If I create a RAG, retrieval augmented generation, the retrieval part where I need to retrieve from um, a certain data store, that logic I can abstract it in the context part. If there is a set of tools that I want to give access to the application, that tool integration, as well as the prompts that can be used by the application, prompt registry can be integrated, and that logic remains in the server. The client is the component through which the the LLM application interacts with the server to get the output from those integrations, right? So this client is usually implemented within the host or the application itself. So hosts are nothing but LLM applications like the Claude desktop, or let's say if I create a custom chat bot, right? That is an LLM application, uh, right? And the clients are part of the host. Clients maintain a 1:1 connection with the server. One client, one server. inside the host application. And the communication between them happens through, so there are two types of transport layer that I think. The transport layer is this part, right, where they are communicating. One is for the local transport. It uses STDIO transport, standard input output. And I think this is for, you can use for remote connection, client and server, which I could not make it work, but it uses the server sent event, which is a unidirectional communication, not like a WebSocket, which is bidirectional communication. So this is the core architecture um, of the um, model control protocol or model context protocol. And now let's see how we can create a server, and then we will integrate with the Claude desktop host, right? That is the part, right? We'll see. So let me go to my terminal. So to do this, you will have to install UV. UV is like a package manager like pip. You can do pip install UV, or in the quick start, there is in the Python SDK, uh, not in the Python SDK, it is there in the quick start. So in the quick start, you can use this command also to install UV, but I just did it with pip install UV. And then I can do an UV accession alias for this. Say create MCP server, right? So what it does is it creates the template for the server, as well as it installs all the dependencies that are required for the server, right? So let me do this. It will ask for a project name. Now, by default, it creates a notes project, right? So I'll name it notes. You can name it anything, but since um, the template it creates is to add a note and retrieve a note, that's why I gave notes, right? Um, I'll just say this is this server um, integrates notes. Project version is fine. Project will be created. I'll say why, right? Then it has created it. Now, would you like to install the server into Claude.app now, right? So what it is asking me is that what I wanted to, since it, okay, so the other thing is like before you start it, right, install Claude Desktop. Very easy. Go to Claude, Google it, Claude Desktop installation, um, and install Claude Desktop. Since it identified Claude Desktop, it says like, would you like to install the server into Claude.app now? I'll say yes. And what it's saying is that I need to go into this configuration file, right? And then configure this app, right? So let me, actually it says it already added. Let's see what it did. I played with this file sometimes back. So if I, oops, it does not exist. Okay, so it actually did not create it. So let's see. Oh, it actually created it, right? So why it did not open? Let's see. Open users. Okay, I know why. I need to give it in text because of the space in the directory name. So if I open it, it will open it in Sublime text that I have, and it is easier for me, right? So since I already did it earlier, I had a, so I'll remove, this was my old server. I will remove this. I'll keep this. This is the new one that got added, right? So the notes server, it got added here, right? And run notes. We'll look at this now, right? But the configuration is like this, right? Name of the server is notes. And within that, this is where the logic is, right? So let's now see, it is saying now go to cd notes, right? And do an uv sync dev all extracts, basically install all the dependencies, right? Now, let's see what these notes contain, right? So file, open, I'm just opening it with PyCharm, notes, open, new window. And here you'll see this is where the um, logic is, right? And this is where you'll see the resources integration, right? So right now it is just a dummy URI where it is saying if I store the note somewhere, right, that this is the URI to get a note based on the note name, right? This can very easily be any data source that I want the LLM application to integrate with, right? So this is the decorator that is used to actually list resources to see what resources it has access to for listing the resource, for reading the resource. For example, if I want to retrieve something from a resource which can be an external data source, this is where I'll put the logic, right? List prompts. If I have to integrate with a prompt registry, I will put this here. Right now, it is just a dummy return with the prompt, right? But I can as well add a prompt registry like a LangChain hub, right? Or let's say AWS prompt management. That logic we can put it, and then I can list the prompts that are available to this particular application. Get prompt, right? So one is listing prompt, one is getting the prompt, right? So to get a particular prompt, the logic I can put it here again, right? And then prompts will be, when I integrate it with the client, I can see the prompt as part of the client, right? We'll see this when we go to Claude for desktop. The thing that will demonstrate is a list tool part, right? So the tool that we are giving right now is the add note tool. It takes two parameters. One is the name of the note and one is the content of the note, right? So when we will integrate with Claude for desktop, we'll ask Claude for desktop saying that add a note that I need to go to the market. You'll see that it will invoke this tool, create a name for the note and invoke the call tool. So this is for listing tool, but it will invoke the call tool. The call tool will see if it is a add note. If it is add note, then it is going to return. So right now it is just returning saying that added note, but I can actually put a logic here where I add it to a database or do something else to it. I can do whatever I want to do with this, right? So this is a call tool part, and then the main part is where so when I um, integrate, when I bring up Claude, right? This is where the run part is where it will bring up the server to get access to these integrations, right? So let me now uh, start Claude. Right. So if I open Claude, oops, failed. Okay, I know why, right? So first of all, let me quit this. Okay, go here where we have our, right? So it is not able to identify UV because UV is not in my path, right? So let's see where is UV. It is under here, right? So let me give the enter path for UV, right? Now I restart Claude. I exited out of Claude. Let me open this. It should work now. Yes. See the tool? One MCP tool available, right? I have this notes, right? This is available. Now let me ask a question. Let's say um, add a note that I will need to pack my bags for my travel to India. When I run this, it should actually, since I said add a node, yep. So it is actually invoking the node. So this particular thing that you are saying, it is similar to, I see the GPT plugins part, right? I'll say allow for this chat. So now what it did is, yeah, it executed that piece of code that I wrote, right? So it says name India trip, package, packing reminder, content, right? So what it did is in this code, this part, where did it go? Um, tool, right? Call tool. So it took the name and the content. Arguments is a name and the uh, content. Content. Yeah. Note name it got from the name and the content from the content, right? Um, so this content is from the args, from the arguments, name and the content, right? This went as a, um, in the add note, I have this too, right? Name and content, right? I got the name and the content. So arguments, this is where those two parameters are there. And I just, it's a dummy implementation I written, but I could have done anything here, that logic here, and uh, coded it, right? And if you see, then there is this, okay, yeah, and let me, there should be, okay. So if I click on this, and if I click on choose integration, right? Nodes, you see summarize nodes, right? This is, and the install empty support show, right? This summarize nodes is nothing but the prompt integration, right? In the prompt, I have, uh, if I go to get prompt, right? List prompt, I have summarized nodes, create a summary of all nodes, right? Um, let's see if I do this and say, um, India, it should summarize. Here are the current notes to summarize. India trip, right? Consider packing essentials, like, okay. So this is what it did, right? So this is how we can actually integrate with prompts, tools, and any resources, which is the context, right? That is how it works. I'm going to explore this feature more, and I'll try to create a custom server as well, which I tried today, but I was not able to create a custom remote server. I'm getting some errors, but I'll debug it and try to fix it. Thank you.